Two boys were born into the same family. They slept under the same roof. They ate at the same table. They went to the same schools. They heard the same family stories. From the outside, anyone looking at them would have said they had the same start in life. But 20 years later, their lives looked completely different. One brother walked through life with confidence. He built healthy relationships. He handled problems without falling apart. People trusted him. He trusted himself. The other brother struggled with anger. He doubted himself. He pushed people away. Every setback felt like proof that he was not good enough. When people saw them as adults, they asked the same question. How could two brothers, raised by the same parents, end up with such different futures? Most people think they know the answer. Some say one child was simply born stronger. Others say one child was naturally smarter. Some believe success comes down to talent, luck, or personality. But the truth is often much deeper than that. And if you are a parent, a future parent, a teacher, or someone trying to understand your own childhood, this story may change the way you see human growth forever. Because sometimes the biggest differences in a person's future begin with the smallest moments that nobody notices. This is the story of Daniel and Samuel.
Two brothers, same parents, different futures. When Daniel was born, his parents were young. His father was working long hours to provide for the family. His mother was trying to balance work, home, and the endless demands of raising a child. Like many parents, they loved their son deeply. But love and understanding are not always the same thing. When Daniel made mistakes as a young child, the response was usually quick correction. Be careful. Stop doing that. Why can't you listen? What's wrong with you? His parents were not trying to hurt him. In fact, they believed they were helping him. They wanted him to behave well. They wanted him to succeed. They wanted him to avoid failure. But something important was happening inside Daniel that nobody could see. Every time a child hears criticism without encouragement, a quiet message begins to form. The message is not always spoken aloud. It sounds more like this. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I always get things wrong. Maybe people only notice me when I fail. As the years passed, Daniel became careful.
Very careful. He stopped taking risks. He stopped asking questions in class. He became afraid of making mistakes. To the adults around him, this looked like good behavior. But inside, confidence was slowly being replaced by fear. 3 years later, Samuel was born. By this time, their parents had changed. Not because they loved Samuel more, because life had taught them lessons. They had made mistakes. They had grown. They had learned patience. When Samuel spilled juice on the floor, his parents still corrected him, but they also helped him clean it up. When Samuel struggled with homework, they sat beside him. When Samuel failed at something, they reminded him that learning takes time. The difference was small, so small that nobody would have noticed it. Yet these small moments were planting seeds, and seeds have a way of becoming forests. Many people believe children are shaped by major events. A divorce, a move, a tragedy, a huge success. Those events matter. But research has shown that everyday experiences often have an even greater effect. The words repeated hundreds of times. The reactions repeated thousands of times. The emotional climate inside a home. These become the background music of childhood. And children listen to that music every day. Daniel's background music sounded like pressure. Samuel's background music sounded like support. Neither brother understood this. Children rarely do. Children simply absorb what surrounds them. The same way a plant absorbs sunlight. The same way a sponge absorbs water. Little by little, the beliefs forming inside each boy became stronger. Daniel began to believe that mistakes were dangerous,
Samuel began to believe that mistakes were part of learning. Daniel began to seek approval. Samuel began to build confidence. The difference was invisible, but it was growing. And one day, it would become impossible to ignore. As Daniel and Samuel moved through childhood, the gap between them was still hard to see. If you met them at age 10, you might not have noticed anything unusual. Both boys went to school. Both played with friends. Both laughed, argued, and dreamed about the future.
But beneath the surface, different beliefs were taking root. And beliefs are powerful. Not because they are always true, but because people often act according to what they believe. Imagine two children standing at the edge of the same challenge. One believes, I can learn this. Limited growth increases fear, and the cycle continues. Samuel faced fear too. Everyone does. But he viewed fear differently. He saw it as part of growth, not proof that he should stop. This difference became clear during an important moment at school. Both brothers had the opportunity to compete in a public speaking event. Daniel immediately thought about everything that could go wrong. What if I forget my words? What if people laugh? What if I embarrass myself? The fear felt stronger than the opportunity, so he declined. Samuel felt nervous too. That is how childhood often works. The other believes, I'm probably going to fail. The challenge is the same. The opportunity is the same. But the response is completely different. One steps forward, one steps back. Over time, those small choices begin to shape an entire life. Many years ago, psychologists began studying why some children recover quickly from setbacks while others struggle for much longer.
Thank you.
They expected to find one big answer. Instead, they found something surprising. Children who feel emotionally safe often develop stronger resilience. Not perfect resilience, not superhuman confidence, just a healthier ability to recover when life becomes difficult. Think about that for a moment. The goal is not to raise children who never fail. The goal is to raise children who can keep going after failure. That difference changes everything. Daniel did well when things went according to plan. When he got good grades, he felt confident. When people praised him, he felt secure. But whenever something went wrong, his confidence collapsed. A poor test score could ruin his entire week. A criticism from a teacher felt like proof that he was not good enough. A disagreement with a friend stayed in his mind for days. Because deep down, Daniel had learned to connect mistakes with personal worth. Failure did not feel like an event. Failure felt like an identity. Samuel experienced disappointment too. He failed tests. He made bad choices. He embarrassed himself. But he had learned something different. He had learned that mistakes were information.
Not identity. When something went wrong, he asked questions. What can I learn? What can I do differently? How can I improve? These may seem like small differences, but small differences repeated thousands of times create very different outcomes. Many people think confidence comes from success, but confidence often comes from surviving failure. A child who learns that mistakes are survivable becomes willing to try. A child who fears mistakes becomes trapped. By age 13, the differences between the brothers were becoming easier to see. Daniel avoided situations where he might fail. He rarely volunteered in class. He stayed away from competitions. He kept his dreams small because small dreams felt safer. Samuel began exploring new opportunities. He joined activities. He tried new skills. Sometimes he succeeded. Sometimes he failed. But each experience taught him something valuable. His confidence was not growing because he always won. His confidence was growing because he learned he could handle losing. This is one of the most important lessons in child development. Many parents accidentally focus too much on outcomes. Good grades, good behavior, good results. Those things matter, but the process matters even more.
because life does not always reward effort immediately. Sometimes a child works hard and still fails. Sometimes a child behaves well and still faces disappointment. If their self-worth depends entirely on success, they become fragile. If their self-worth is rooted in growth, they become stronger. Researchers sometimes call this a growth mindset. The basic idea is simple. People who believe abilities can improve through effort tend to persist longer. People who believe abilities are fixed tend to quit sooner. The difference sounds small, but it changes how people approach life. Daniel started avoiding challenges. Samuel started seeking growth. Daniel protected his self-image. Samuel expanded his abilities. Neither choice felt dramatic, yet every choice was slowly shaping the future. Imagine two airplanes leaving the same airport. At first, they appear to travel in the same direction. But if one airplane changes course by just a few degrees, the final destination becomes completely different. That is how childhood often works. A few degrees, a few repeated messages, a few emotional experiences.
Years later, the destination looks completely different. By the time the brothers reached high school, their inner worlds had become very different places. Daniel was carrying a heavy burden. The burden was invisible. Most people could not see it, but it affected everything. He constantly worried about what others thought. He compared himself to classmates. He feared criticism. He feared failure. He feared disappointment. The strange thing about fear is that it often creates the very outcome people want to avoid. Fear of failure leads to avoiding challenges. Avoiding challenges limits growth. Limited growth increases fear, and the cycle continues. Samuel faced fear too. Everyone does. But he viewed fear differently. He saw it as part of growth, not proof that he should stop. This difference became clear during an important moment at school. Both brothers had the opportunity to compete in a public speaking event. Daniel immediately thought about everything that could go wrong. What if I forget my words? What if people laugh? What if I embarrass myself? The fear felt stronger than the opportunity, so he declined. Samuel felt nervous too. His hands shook. His stomach tightened. He imagined making mistakes, but he signed up anyway. The day arrived. Samuel made several mistakes during his speech. He stumbled over words. He lost his place once. His presentation was far from perfect. Yet something powerful happened. He survived. Nobody laughed. Nobody rejected him. The world kept turning. And because he survived, his confidence grew. Not because he was perfect, because he learned he did not need to be. This is something many adults spend years trying to learn. Perfection is not the goal. Growth is. Yet so many children are unknowingly taught the opposite. They begin believing that being loved depends on performance, that being valued depends on success.
That mistakes reduce their worth. Those beliefs can quietly follow a person for decades. The brothers were now standing at the edge of adulthood. Both had potential. He tried new skills. Sometimes he succeeded. Sometimes he failed. But each experience taught him something valuable. His confidence was not growing because he always won. His confidence was growing because he learned he could handle losing. This is one of the most important lessons in child development. Many parents accidentally focus too much on outcomes, good grades, good behavior, good results. Those things matter, but the process matters even more. Because life does not always reward effort immediately. Sometimes a child works hard and still fails. Sometimes a child behaves well and still faces disappointment. If their self-worth depends entirely on success, they become fragile. If their self-worth is rooted in growth, they become stronger. Researchers sometimes call this a growth mindset. The basic idea is simple. People who believe abilities can improve through effort tend to persist longer. People who believe abilities are fixed tend to quit sooner. The difference sounds small, but it changes how people approach life. Daniel started avoiding challenges. Samuel started seeking growth. Daniel protected his self-image. Samuel expanded his abilities. Neither choice felt dramatic, yet every choice was slowly shaping the future. Imagine two airplanes leaving the same airport. At first, they appear to travel in the same direction. But if one airplane changes course by just a few degrees, the final destination becomes completely different. A few degrees, a few repeated messages, a few emotional experiences. Years later, the destination looks completely different. By the time the brothers reached high school, their inner worlds had become very different places.
And what happened next would reveal just how different, in ways neither brother could have predicted. Continue the story. Part 2 is already uploaded.